Welcome to the Delenda Carthago podcast. We are your hosts, Andy and Aaron.
This is the FBI edition of the podcast. I'd like to start this evening discussing mad Chechen bombers. I have to read...
Are they anything like Mad Irish Bombers? I saw that movie.
Mad Irish Bombers? I didn't know that was a movie.
Oh, it's Blown Away.
Oh, okay. I thought it was actually called Mad Irish Bomber.
No, but that would be a great title for a movie.
Oh, I have to read directly from Andy's show prep here because it's hilarious. Chechnya is a republic of Russia. Its capital is Grozny. Or is it Grozny? I think it's Grozny.
It's Grozny, I think.
The Czech Republic borders Germany and has delicious beer. As you can tell, we're very Eurocentric around here.
Yeah, so according to Google Maps, Chechnya and the Czech Republic are actually 1,900 miles apart. To get from the Czech Republic, you drive through Poland, through Krakow, all the way over to Kyiv in Ukraine, make a slight right, head down past the Black Sea, and then hang a slight left again, and if you hit the Caspian Sea, you've gone too far.
Yes. And if you see any signs or, like, scrawling on the boulders that say, like, Attila was here, you're close.
You're close. It's sort of like driving from New York City to Wyoming. It's about the same distance, about 30-some hours of driving. So it's a common mistake people make, that they're the same place. It's embarrassing, to say the least, I think, to Americans, that the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic has to get on TV and explain that it's not the same as the Chechnya.
I think Green Day wrote a song about this.
About Chechnya or about bad geography?
American Idiot. What's the name of it? May have
Very
been somewhat accurate.
All right, so we had to talk about the Boston bombing. But I don't really care about the bombers or any of the horrific stuff that you saw. I do care about it, but not as far as what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the government, the state's response to it, the FBI, the ATF, the alphabet soup of federal agencies.
Interference.
I'm trying to be kind here, trying to self-censor.
Yes.
So... can you explain to me what the criteria are for when the FBI gets to assert, quote-unquote, jurisdiction?
I believe that is any time the FBI wants to assert jurisdiction.
Okay. Because I've seen Criminal Minds, and according to that show, they can only do that if the state invites them in. So I don't understand.
Well, like, in a case like this, I'd be shocked, actually, if the state said, well, I don't know. We kind of want jurisdiction because we want to look like idiots.
But the FBI doesn't think they look like idiots.
Well, of course.
We are hero and deserve.
Yes. The problem is, the actual problem is that through exactly what you mentioned earlier, shows like Criminal Minds, what was that awful math-oriented show, Numbers?
It's still on TV?
It's still on TV? Oh, my
it's
goodness. It tells you a lot about me. I have no idea what's on television.
I've wanted to write a blog post for a while, but I don't have time to do the research about the percentage of primetime TV that is taken up by cop shows and FBI shows. And
it's all glorification.
It's all glorification. Yeah, I would watch a show that was like, they're all rotten criminals.
Yeah.
and they're exposing them.
I think we have a common love for the old show with Andre Braugher in it, Homicide.
Oh, that was a great show.
Edgy, gritty. Maybe not all cops are perfect.
I don't think any of them were perfect.
No,
right?
Exactly. But that's the point.
They were all murderers. They were all like normal people. They were all, willing to push the envelope and do, bad things to make their case.
You did just conflate murder with the average American. Maybe we do. Maybe we do need some gun control.
What did I say?
You said they're all like normal people, murderers.
Well, capacity.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, yeah. So let's go on some Christianity for once on the podcast and say, yes, I've murdered people in my mind, in my heart, yes. Yeah. Anyway, so FBI jurisdiction, I believe that what I said earlier is actually true. It is whenever they want to.
Whenever they want to.
And I think it'd be foolish, again, for any state or local municipality to even try to buck that for a heartbeat. We all know there are no real rights, local real rights anymore.
We'll get to that in 1 second.
I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
So I was amazed, too, at how fast the name of this agency gets longer every year. They add a new letter. The BATFE. I was like, this should just be called the Vice Squad, right?
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco.
You want to drink? You want to smoke? You want to play with guns? Or you want to blow stuff up? We're going to be there.
Oh, explosives? That's what the E is now?
That's what the E is, explosives, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I was just looking at that like, huh?
Yeah, so it's like they're everywhere, too. It's like they join an FBI agent with an ATF agent, and they just walk around together.
Well, the other odd part is there's also a DEA agent there. They just never announced their presence.
Yes. They're already on the inside.
Exactly.
As well as probably the CIA.
No, Andy.
And I know. There's probably a black helicopter outside right now.
You don't want to go there with the CIA.
They're monitoring our conversation.
There's no chance that the CIA was manipulating these people either, or the FBI for that matter.
I can't remember what show it is or what movie, but there's a scene in one of these cop shows or movies where there's a shootout in like a post office, and 3 guys all end up shooting each other, and then they all pull out their badge, and one of them is an ATF agent, one of them's a DEA agent.
Yeah.
Because they're all embedded, and they're the ones causing all the problems. There's only like one guy it's not a federal agent.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all seem to be there all the time, and there's always one guy that's inside this operation or terrorist plot or whatever already.
But the nice thing about when they figure out that they're all FBI and CIA and DEA agents is that the one guy that's left over that doesn't have an acronym, he's the guilty one.
Right. We went down the line, and you were the only one who didn't have a badge. So we got the bombing on Monday. We got 4 days of intense stupidity by the media, and I can't recommend enough Jon Stewart's show. I think it was it Monday of this week?
I think so.
Where, he shows all of CNN's great coverage where everything they said was wrong for a whole day.
Yes. Yep.
I guess that was Friday, but the whole week leading up, and then on Friday, or just the nothingness where they're showing just like video of like 4 cop cars riding down the road, and they're all excited because something's happening.
Oh yeah. We don't even want to talk about that sickness.
No, we don't have time for that. So then we get to Friday, and they have supposedly, they've already killed on Thursday night, right? They killed the brother.
Yes, Thursday night. As they were, I think it was after they hit the ATM, then tried to steal money. Once they got money.
Now, hang on. That's not quite fair. That's not quite fair, because whenever I need money, I first go into the 7-Eleven, get money out of the ATM, and then pull my gun out and try to rob the clerk.
Well,
so that's totally plausible.
I guess it is. But you should remember, the next time you're fleeing from the authorities, make sure you stop, get out of your car, and have a firefight.
Okay. Don't keep driving.
Don't keep driving. Don't ever think anything through. Wait. You got away with terrorism for 4 days.
Well,
then you rob a 7-Eleven.
Well, not just any 7-Eleven.
It just doesn't seem right, Andy.
It's a 7-Eleven in the same city where you committed the terrorist act that you didn't leave for 4 days, even though you weren't identified yet.
It's just crazy.
It's ridiculous. These guys should write a book. Well, one of them at least.
That's if his wounds ever heal. My goodness.
We'll get to that. So they robbed the 7-Eleven, supposedly, and then supposedly the one brother runs the other over with a car.
Yes, yep.
Before or after they are in a shootout with the cops?
That I don't know.
Does it matter?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. No.
Pretty sure it doesn't matter. And I'm pretty sure that the eyewitness that was there said the cops ran the guy over and then decided to shoot his body up to make it look like he was in a firefight.
I doubt that's possible. I think that person must have been like a pothead or something. Oh, no, that was also one of the terrorists.
He was a pothead. Stoner terrorist decides to build
perfect sense. He mellows out with some bud, then he decides to build some bombs.
Yep.
Apparently it's like some kind of munchie thing. You get the munchies, you also get the itch to build bombs.
Right. And what better vessel to build a bomb out of than a pressure cooker? And not just any pressure cooker, the cheapest pressure cooker you can find. That one that like the handle snaps off as soon as...
Look, in their defense, it was all they could afford on Massachusetts welfare.
Well, I hear it's not a lot. They don't give you very much to live off. And then your stipend to go to, the university, it just doesn't pay enough for all those high explosives and good quality steel that you'll need. Aluminum is much better.
Yeah.
So they kill the one brother, or he kills himself, or...
Maybe he ran the car over himself.
I think he ran the car over himself and then shot himself in the head, personally. But that's just me. So there's only one brother left, and they're searching for him, and they put the whole... Is it a town, water town?
It's like
is it suburb?
District.
I mean, you're a Bostonian, right? Adopted?
Yeah, I have actually been adopted. That's true.
You've been there so much recently.
Yes, that is true. Both of those things are true. It is actually, I guess it is a town, but you would call it like a district, like we would say of, say, Philadelphia, for example. The Oregon district or whatever. It's just a section of town, really.
All right. So they put the whole place on in lockdown. There's another word for lockdown, I believe.
Yes, there is. It's like martial law or something like that.
Martial law. And when you're not allowed to leave your house because the government says so.
Yes, exactly.
We call that house arrest.
That's what I call it. Now... I wouldn't call it house arrest when it goes even further than that. When they decide that they're just going to walk into your house.
I would just bang on the door and tell you to come out. So for those of you who haven't seen the video, and we'll post this, of the army of black-clad, I don't know what they were. Were they cops or FBI or whatever? With their machine guns and their tanks, rolling down the road and banging on people's doors and demanding that they come out, and then later telling everyone that, no, it was voluntary. You didn't have to come out when we pointed that rifle at your head and told you to put your hands up and come out of your house. So, I mean, that's fair, right?
It would be fair until, you also see photos, like the photo we'll post. Well, I guess it's in a blog post. But at the end of the blog post, you'll see a photo of a nice gentlemanly police officer or, I don't know, National Guard Reserve or Navy SEAL, who knows, pointing his automatic rifle at your face.
And what vehicle is he sitting in?
In a Humvee. Pointing his rifle at your face because you're looking out of your window.
Probably more because you're videotaping.
Yes,
out of your
I think
window.
that's what that's the crux of the matter.
So, and you can hear in the video of the house-to-house search them yelling for people to stay away from their windows, and I don't know if they yelled "don't record," but they're definitely telling people to get away from the windows.
Yeah.
Again, back to your point about looking stupid. I don't know how you think you can keep everyone from recording in this day and age. How many videos from the bombing were there? Cell phone
exactly.
videos. It's like,
well, and then don't ever record anything because we hate it when you record. And send us your recordings so that we can find these guys.
Do as I say.
Yes.
Don't do as I want you to.
Exactly. If you don't do what I say, please help me out when I screw up. And I can't find anything.
So what I love the most, or one of my favorite stories of during the lockdown, and this is before they've released everyone from house arrest, is the picture of the cop. I think he's a cop. With a gallon of milk in each hand, coming to the house to deliver milk to this family because they ran out. And I nearly vomited reading some of the comments about what a great guy this is, and how awesome it is that he's just he's such a good public servant, and
he loves these people so much he would bring them 2 gallons of milk.
He brought them milk when they needed milk.
I do have to say it did have red caps on it, so it may have been whole milk, which I gotta give him points for that.
He got the whole milk, but if you look at the picture, his face. It's like a sneer or like a growl.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, I'm going to hand you these 2 gallons of milk, then I'm going to shoot you dead.
Yes. It's such a strange picture.
It is.
And just a strange story to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, so after the cops deliver milk, what is that number? Do you dial 911 to get that service? Because that would be awesome.
I was just denied grocery service because I don't own my home, because I'm one of those brave few who rent still in this day and age.
Is that true?
It is true.
You can't get grocery delivery if you rent?
So this guy from this grocery service called my wife and harassed her multiple days. Finally, she agreed to set up a meeting. So I said, well, we'll just hear him out or whatever. Well, he finally starts talking to her about stuff, and he says, he gets all tangled up, and he doesn't know what to do because I guess he's new. But eventually it comes down to the point where she's just like, so you're saying if I don't own my home, I can't use your service? Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Shouldn't that be the first question on the checklist?
It's exactly what she said. But, logic.
It's not happening.
Not so much in our world anymore. I really got to get the name of that service. I need to blog that.
I've never heard that before. I don't even understand that.
How do you know I don't make $1 million and I'm renting some giant house?
That doesn't make any sense. All right, so and maybe the milk cop isn't the best part of this. Maybe this is the best part. Is that after the cops declare, "You're all safe. We're good to go. We're ending the lockdown." The guy comes out of his house and notices that there's blood all over. And calls the cops. And
well, no, that's not true. Come on, let's get this straight.
All right.
He listened very carefully to the public officials who said, if you see anything suspicious, don't approach anyone, don't do anything.
That's right.
So he went over and found out that there was a guy in his boat. Like I don't know.
I think he was a mad Chechen bomber.
If anything, this guy is the hero in the whole story.
Exactly.
Shocker, an average, ordinary American, an average citizen looking around, taking care of his own property.
Aaron, they prefer the term civilian.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. A civilian who is probably denied any rights toward having a weapon in that awful state of Massachusetts. Ends up having to, quote-unquote, save the day. Well, we'll see how that plays out.
Can you own long guns? Can you own a shotgun?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I should really look into that.
I mean, I have no intention of ever living there, so it doesn't really affect me. But
when all the neighboring states call it Taxachusetts, it's probably not.
It's bad. When New York is making fun of them, yes.
Exactly.
All right, so this guy finds the Joe Kev, what's his name?
Yeah.
I'm going to call him.
Yeah, Joe Carr. That's what I call him.
Joe Carr. So he finds the guy, calls the cops. I would love to hear how that call went. Hey, I found him. What?
He's
we were just there.
Probably he said something like, "Yeah, that guy is in my boat," and they're like, "You're harboring a criminal."
Put your hands up. So they come and supposedly, at least at the beginning, there's a firefight, and now a firefight kind of indicates that there are two people standing opposite each other shooting at one another, right?
That's the last firefight I was in. That was the way it was.
Okay. It's normally how it goes when I start firing. But just tonight I see that the AP reports that his name is Zohar. I'm sorry, Zokar. He's Czech. He's from the Czech Republic, so I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, yeah.
So they originally said that he was firing back, and now they say that actually he was unarmed at the time of his arrest, so I guess he didn't shoot himself in the head. So the police fill this boat full of bullets, apparently wounding this guy in the process. He was probably already wounded.
Yes.
Now he's
Well,
shot.
the guy found blood, so I'm assuming he was.
He was already bleeding. But he was not firing back at them, apparently. So all of the shooting, which there's a video of as well, of this massive gunfire, was totally unnecessary. And I'm just going to guess...
Whoa, look. All right. When an odd movement of someone who's being arrested can be construed as them attacking a police officer...
It's true.
I think that this shooting was probably justified based on that standard.
I've had a cop tell me that I made him nervous because I was driving past his cop car and he had his door hanging out in the lane, and I didn't move my car another 3 inches over to the left. So I can see how that would make a cop ready to kill someone.
Well, maybe he didn't have 12 other cops with him at the time.
We have to finish this segment because it just gets worse as we go. And we're probably getting to the worst part now.
Well,
so
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I did want to actually touch back on. I didn't get to say something when we were talking about the house-to-house searching. I forget who posted it, but on Lou Rockwell, someone posted about the rights of the police when it comes to searching your home.
Oh, yes.
And there's 4 circumstances when they can search, right? So there's consent. I think everyone understands what that means. There's plain view.
Well, maybe we should be clear about that for everyone listening. Don't ever consent.
Yeah, exactly.
I do not consent. Those are the words you want to use.
Yes. So there's that. Then there's also plain view. That would be, if they saw contraband or evidence of a crime.
So that would be...
Like, I don't know, giant
drugs.
Blood stains near your boat, perhaps.
I bleed a lot when I sail.
Also, search incident to an arrest. So if they think they're going to arrest you, then they can do a protective sweep, speaking of nervous cops, to make sure that there's nothing else, and make sure that no one's destroying any evidence.
That's like the car is obviously empty, and there's 50 of us surrounding it, but we're going to search it anyway.
Yes. Then, exigent circumstances. This is, I think, what they're justifying all this behavior with.
This is the vague one, right?
Yes, this is the instances of hot pursuit. Like an entire day of searching through a neighborhood when there's a guy with blood around his boat that you obviously missed somehow.
Listen, I'm sure the guy that searched that house will be given a paid vacation.
Yes.
Investigated thoroughly and then brought back to work. Exactly. So we don't have to worry.
You're right. He will be chastised.
So
we'll move along.
Moving right along. So then they get the guy after the firefight and decide that because of a public safety exception, they will not read him his Miranda rights before questioning him.
It sure makes sense to me.
Now, whatever a public safety exception is, I guess that's...
from the explanation that I read online, I believe this is like, we need to take some time and decide whether or not this guy's tied into a larger terrorist cell that may be blowing things up other places.
Now, you say take some time. I would think it's more like there's a ticking bomb and...
No, that's how it should be. But I think it's actually used as let's have some time so that we can actually figure out who these people are, since we were not doing what we tell the American people we're actually doing.
Or maybe they were, since they seem to know who these guys were already.
Well, right, but I mean, they didn't. They kept on saying we're not sure if they're connected to, whatever.
Right.
But the whole idea behind it is, ludicrous in this situation. Okay, we're gonna figure out whether or not there's more terrorists just waiting to launch some bombs or whatever. Okay, how many days had it been since the bombing?
4.
So no bombs went off since then?
No.
Other than, quote unquote, the IEDs that they were throwing out of their car at cops or something, which I still haven't.
I had 3 people tell me about that, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
I still don't understand it, but.
So the question is, should anyone be denied their Miranda rights? Now, I don't really care about that so much. It's more about it's like using the Constitution to beat the government over the head. They're violating their own rules whenever they feel like.
Always.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
So you got this thing called Miranda. It says you got to tell people they don't have to talk to you, but whenever you feel like it, you just don't have to do that. And especially with guys that may or may not know. And I guess it goes to how they are talked about in the whole media as, and you could hear the air quotes when they say suspect.
Yes, exactly.
Right? These suspects, and like, we got them, right? We got those. Oh, they're suspects. We don't know that they're guilty.
Yep.
But we got them,
and you're safe now.
And you're safe, so we're good, and we don't have to read them the rights, and we'll just question them, and that's okay. So just shut up and go about your business.
Look, we've already talked to the Russians. They told us that these are the bad guys.
Bad guys, yeah. Don't look any further. You're good to go.
I swear one of them was wearing a black hat. I know the other one was wearing a white hat, and that makes it confusing. But these guys are the black hats, okay?
You know, I'm glad you brought up the hats, because from the first day that I saw that picture, I'm like, what person in their right mind doesn't wear like the most plain clothes they can find and maybe some sunglasses? I guess the one brother was wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you try to disguise yourselves?
Generally, when you're committing acts of terrorism, I think you do not want to get caught, right?
Oh, I don't want to get caught when I commit acts of terrorism.
There we go.
But I'm not from the Czech Republic, so I don't know how it works over there.
True. I've always found that to be one of your failings, is that you're not from the Czech Republic. So it makes sense.
So I'll bring up one last thing, and I'm glad you said it. Terrorism, and I didn't get a chance to write about this, but what is terrorism, and what is the threshold for terrorism? And most importantly, can you have terrorism if no one is telling you why they're committing their act of violence?
Sure. Okay, I've got a good answer for you.
Okay.
Terrorism is when you wait, sitting in your, little basement, and you wait until you see the guy that you want to kill walk, and get into a car, and then you launch your Hellfire missiles at him.
Oh. See, I thought it was when you were just sitting in a cafe having lunch with your son and a Hellfire missile comes down and kills you.
Oh, I must have them backwards.
They're backwards, yes.
It's when you get killed by America, not when you kill Americans. No,
yeah,
wait, no, it's that too.
It's the other way. Oh, it's both. No, it's just ridiculous.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
So, what is the threshold it would take for an act to be called terrorism? Right? Is it the number of people I kill? Is it where they were when it happened? Is it the type of weapon I use? I mean, it's like just ambiguous, totally ambiguous.
Well, right. Well, okay. So last episode we talked a little bit about mags and how exactly. No one in Ireland had a political message. It was all just crime. Okay?
Yes.
So all we've done in the U.S. is we've taken her crime statement and said terrorism.
Yes. It needs to be.
We've amped it up. We've made it worse, if anything.
Made it worse. Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else to say about this ridiculous saga that will continue, and I'm sure we'll find out more and more about their connections to the FBI, to the CIA, to the KGB. Who knows? I mean.
Yeah. No, I don't think the KGB. The other ones are likely.
I think the CIA.
That's
it makes the most sense right now. So, in our history segment this week, I'm gonna be a little vague to begin with, and you'll see where it's going here. So, last Friday was April 19th. That's when the Boston bombing quote unquote suspect was caught. And I want to just talk about a couple other events. One of them, or the first one, happened in 1775, and it's what everyone knows as the shot heard around the world as part of the Battle of Concord in the American Revolution. And that occurred on April 19th in 1775. And then 210 years later, on April 19th in 1985, and probably not very many people have heard about this or remember this, but there was I think Wikipedia calls it a Christian cult or something, a group of people called the Covenant, the Sword, and the Arm of the Lord. They were in the town of Elijah in southern Missouri, and they were, I guess, end of the world people. They thought the apocalypse is coming, and they wanted to overthrow the government. And I'm with them so far. Apparently, a couple of them did murder some people, so I can't support that. But so the FBI, our favorite people, they laid siege to. They call it the CSA. They laid siege to this compound they were in under the guise of arresting one of the members on some charge, maybe a murder charge, I'm not sure. There were 300 ATF agents surrounding this compound. I don't think they fired any shots, but they sent in negotiators. At one point, Asa Hutchinson, if you recognize that name, he's the former
US attorney.
Current U.S. attorney, and he's also a congressman.
Yep.
He enters the compound, joins in the negotiations, and after being convinced, and I use that word loosely, by basically being told that they would not survive if they decided to fight back, and a 4-day standoff, their leader, James Ellison, and all the men in the compound come out and surrender, and all the women and children are taken. So no one is killed. Amazingly,
yes,
no one is killed.
Amazingly. I think it's actually very compelling that they realized, oh yeah, they are going to kill every single one of us.
They are. Well, there's at least 300 of them. There's not that many of us, and in any standoff like this, you can't outlast if you're on the inside, right? So I'm not going to say kudos to the FBI, but at least they didn't murder anybody that day. Then, but the FBI's track record was not going to last. Right?
Oh, well, hold on. I want to say something about this, and this is one thing that Wikipedia gets right. I noticed in the story, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms later determined that the CSA had obtained, and this is the important one right up front, 155 Krugerrands.
Yes, I read that. Among other things,
those
like
evil pieces of gold.
They had guns and gold,
yes,
so
yep.
They had to be taken out.
They also say they had 35 sawed-off shotguns and machine guns, because those things are very similar. Those sawed-off shotguns and machine guns.
Well, and if I was going to try to overthrow the government, I would definitely do it with sawed-off shotguns.
Yes, exactly.
So this next one, it's not an April 19th date, but it's, to me, too weird not to include. For those of you who remember Ruby Ridge, actually on April 18th, 1992, Geraldo Rivera, his TV show, had a helicopter flying over Randy Weaver's property. The media reports that Weaver fires shots at the helicopter, and the FBI gets all excited and says, "Ooh, we can go kill these people now." Yeah. Not literally, but essentially they made up these rules of engagement that said, if anything moves, you can shoot at it. And then they went in, they did their standoff thing and ended up literally murdering his wife and his son.
Yes.
His wife was shot through the face by a sniper when she stepped out the door with no weapon in her hands. They tried to kill Weaver himself. The sniper shot at him and was attempting to hit his spine, but he moved at the last second and it missed. So he would have been dead if not for that. And this, again, was all over quote-unquote weapons charges, right?
Yep.
The FBI had lured him in, right, or the ATF, and asked him to sell him sawed-off shotguns or some illegal weapon, and he did it. Never would have done it if he hadn't been, entrapped into it, and half of his family is wiped out. They did have the decency to only imprison him for an extra 4 months after he was deemed not guilty, fine him $10,000, but then he won a civil suit against them and got $100,000 for his wife and child, and each of his daughters got $1 million. So I guess $2 million, that's good enough, right? And, that's right, none of the FBI agents lost their jobs.
Yep. Well, $2 million, not having a mom. Yeah.
It's pretty much on the government's value scale, I guess.
Yeah, well, yes. Money over human life. Yes, exactly.
So the early 90s seemed to be the FBI's really pinnacle period here for murder. And the next year, 1993, they began a raid of the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas on February 28th. They went in supposedly to arrest David Koresh. And one of the humorous, if there's any humor in this parts of the story, is that Koresh found out because the idiotic government agent got lost and had to ask the mailman for directions. He happened to be David Koresh's brother-in-law and called him and said, hey, there's these feds on the way to arrest you. So there's a standoff. A lot of people will probably remember watching this on CNN or something. It went on for 19 days, and on April 19th, the FBI had not gotten to kill anybody, so they decided they were going in. They send in armored personnel carriers and tanks, and they knock part of the building down, and then the compound is set on fire, most likely due to tear gas canisters, the same way they just did with that cop out in California.
Yes. Yep.
When they burned him out. And 76 of the people inside died, 22 of which were children, many of them little babies.
This just begs the question for me. 26 people died at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and 20 of them were children. So should we then be immediately calling for FBI control?
We need government control, government law enforcement control. No. But these were bad people because the FBI disagreed with their lifestyle.
Right, exactly. Which
and their children deserved to die.
And in comparison, the good people, the FBI, were the ones who prevented the fire trucks from getting to the compound.
That's right. So after the fire started, someone called the fire department, and when they made it to the checkpoint, they were stopped and said, no, you can't go up there and put the fire out. And the whole compound burned to the ground. April 19th, 1993. And finally, 2 years later, in 1995, on April 19th, a bomb went off outside of the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. And although I'm a conspiracy theorist and don't really believe this story, Timothy McVeigh said that it was in retribution for the siege at Ruby Ridge and for Waco, and that's why he set off the bomb. And actually, it went off at almost the exact time that the compound was set on fire 2 years before. So there's your history lesson of April 19th and the FBI. I guess the moral of the story is we should just all stay inside on April 19th because you never know what they're going to be up to that day.
Beware the Ides of March and April 19th.
April 19th. That's right.
Thank you for listening. You can find us at our website, curmudgeons.net, Facebook, and Twitter. Drop us a note with suggestions, links, or show ideas, and remember to share the podcast with your friends. We'll be back in 2 weeks. When the FBI opens the gulag, we'll try to get blogging rights. Until then, spit on your hands and hoist the black flag.